Hey everyone, welcome to the Healthbabes podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Becky Campbell with Dr. Crystal Hone. Today we're talking all about detox. Detox is a very big buzzword. So we're going to kind of talk about how you know if you need to detox your body and how you do detox your body. So today's episode is brought to you by Sunlighten, our favorite sauna brand. So of course we're going to talk about that as a big part of detox. So let's talk first about how to know if you don't detox well. Coming from the not detox well queen, I can tell you that you'll know, if you don't detox well. So some signs are like headaches. I have gotten headaches for probably a majority of my life and for various reasons. There's various reasons for headaches, but
Right.
it is also a big sign that you don't detox well. Another really big sign is if you get a hangover easily.
Mm-hmm.
If you have one or two drinks and you feel different the next day, or, maybe when that's how we both are. And even when, back in the day, like in college, when I drank, five drinks in a night, I would be dead the next
Yeah.
day. And my
Yeah.
friends would be up and out and doing stuff, and I would be dying. So, those are just kind of some things to kind of think back on. Um, Fatigue, fatigue can be go with a lot of things, but
Yeah.
definitely if you don't push toxins out and you're holding on to a lot of toxins, you're going to be tired. So hormone imbalance, especially things like estrogen dominance,
Mm-hmm.
we use our detox pathways to get rid of the excess estrogen. So if we can't do that well, we will be holding on to extra hormones like estrogen and we'll have that dominance usually. So brain fog's really big, especially if you're living in mold or have like a heavy metal toxicity and you don't detox well, you're going to have brain fog. So what are some other things that you've seen?
Yeah. A lot of like exacerbation with autoimmune conditions. So like with the joint pain, fibromyalgia, right? We typically can see skin issues is a big one if you're a poor detoxer, because if you are not detoxing properly, Becky mentioned estrogen dominance. A lot of that can lead to hormonal dysfunction. And with hormonal dysfunction, whether that's androgens, whether that's estrogen, whether you have insulin resistance, it's going to come out on your skin. You're going to see that on your skin. So skin issues is a big one. Digestive dysfunction, as we know, if you're not pooping, if you have constipation or loose stools, like you got to figure that out. You're probably a poor detoxer, but there's other issues that are coming along with that, right? Becky mentioned supplement sensitivity. I noticed with me, like as I got older and the stress load was more, that I became more sensitive to things because my body was overburdened. So I've had to really play with things and figure out what feels good for my body, especially when it comes to supplements, depending on what I was going through at the time, right? Whether you need to up your detox game, right? Which we'll talk about some of those things, but I noticed, me personally, I was getting more sensitive to things, especially if my stress load was high and I was maybe a little more lazier on the detox stuff. So definitely implement that if you are getting that supplement sensitivity, chemical sensitivity, because it's really, really important. So
Yeah,
those
I
are,
used to wear perfume in
yeah.
college. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I
That's,
doused myself in
oh,
like
remember
Bath and
Love
Body
Spell?
Works.
Victoria's Secret Love Spell. I used to spray that
Yeah.
stuff on
Oh
everything.
yeah, I did that. I wore Angel perfume. I don't know
Oh
if you know
yeah.
that one. But I wore like the lotions from Bath and Body Works, so I would get like pears
So bad. I had it all too,
and the
girl.
spray. And I must have smelled like a walking fruit bowl all the
I
time.
mean, you see those memes now of all the pictures of all the lotions, and it says, why I have hormonal dysfunction in
Yeah.
my 40s. Because it is the truth. Fragrance, you guys, is one of the biggest chemicals and hormonal disruptors you could ever do. So yes, work on your detox pathways, but also eliminate those things that
Yeah.
you know?
And then if they stop, so anyway, so over time I started to get sensitive to it is my
Yeah.
point. And then I couldn't be around it, or I would fall apart. I mean, I would suffer with a lot of symptoms, and I'm a lot better now.
Mhm.
But I still run from fragrance
Yeah.
because
When
even
you
if
know
it's
better,
not
you do better.
affecting me, yeah, and even if it's not affecting me like at that moment, it's not ruining my day. I know what it's doing to my body.
Mhm.
So anyway, that was just a little side note. But yeah, so you'll start to become more chemically sensitive. You'll start to be able to tolerate less supplements and even sometimes less foods. So, and we
Yeah.
see a lot of skin issues
A
related to
lot.
poor detox, like acne, big time. We've
Yes.
we've
Oh,
had teenagers, their mothers bring them to us, and they want them put on birth control, not the mothers, but the doctors want to put them on birth control, and the mother wants to know if there's any other options.
yep.
And within just, a month of supporting the liver and the detox
Mhm.
pathways, we see huge, huge changes in the skin. So,
Yeah. It's absolutely essential. You got to look at all of those things, but it's just not known. It's not talked about. I mean, hopefully we preach it enough to open,
mhm,
listeners' eyes a little bit more that there's other answers when it comes to that, especially for your kids.
yeah.
We go ahead, Beck. You were going to say,
I was just gonna get into the pathways.
yeah.
You hear a lot about detox and your detox pathways. So what are those pathways? Because not everybody knows that. Actually, I'd say a lot of people don't know exactly. So one really important way to get rid of toxins is through perspiration. So
Mhm.
sweating,
Mhm.
and we, push it out through the skin. So this is one of the reasons we love the sauna so much, because it really helps you to sweat. And, if you're not good at sweating, or you're not doing enough activity, which is common, to sweat a lot, then the infrared sauna can be super helpful at helping you. It also increases circulation, gets blood moving to those detox organs. So it's not just about the sweat; it's about the detox organs themselves. So that so
And it's
perspiration,
penetrating too
yeah,
from the inside out rather than like from a steam sauna, it's more the outside in, right? You're going to sweat really fast because the room's hot. Well, you can go slower with an infrared too, depending on how sensitive you are. This is why this is so important for the type of people that we've worked with for years who can't handle high heat, right? You can
yeah.
go slow with an infrared.
And you can not have to sweat for there to be benefit too. There's a
Yes.
lot of benefit even if you're not, because people will say, "I don't sweat, like, at all," and
Yeah.
I say, "You're still getting benefit." So,
Yeah.
the kidneys is another, detox organ, so, expelling toxins through our urine. The liver is probably the most talked about, right? Everything kind of runs through the liver. So the liver is super important. It's super important to support the liver when you're doing any type of detox. And there are many roles that the liver plays, and even with the hormones, when you have imbalances in hormone levels, the liver is where phase 1 and phase 2 of detoxification really plays a major role. So it's really, really, really important. And then the lymphatic system is really good. That's why we always recommend some type of lymphatic massage, or even dry brushing can be really helpful for that. And then respiration. So through our breath, and our bowels. So we're always talking about making sure you're pooping. This is
Get that
why
poop out.
everything's, kind of bundled up in a nice little package, ready to go out when you poop. So
Yes, yes.
it's really important.
Yeah. And so those are the big pathways in which we detox you guys. So now we need to talk about, okay, how do I, because it's not that complicated. And that's what we really wanted to bring you in this episode is really like 6 top simple ways, action steps you can start today to start supporting detox. So we know the pathways in which we detox in the body, meaning like the systems, right, that are involved that Beck just went over. But let's talk about, okay, how do we ensure that we're supporting healthy detoxification in the body? And The first step is something that you have absolute control over of what you put in your body. And if you want to detox poorly, put crap in your body because it overburdens those amazing systems that we talked about, especially the liver, your lymphatic system. Most of those inflammatory foods are really going to impact your bowel movements, right? So you got to make sure you're eating right. So let me talk a little bit about what that looks like. And I know I've been on my soapbox with this and we've talked about this many times, but it's that important. You want to make sure that you're getting in really clean fruits and veggies. So choose clean. And there's a great list. You don't have to buy everything organic. Follow the Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 as best as you can. I get it. We all have different financial, we're all different, right? Certain people
Yeah.
can afford more than others. It's just the reality of it. So do the best that you can when it comes to that. Grass-fed meat, know the quality of your meat. And this is a trick. Get to know your farmers, because if you were to buy grass-fed meat in, let's say, Kroger or Publix or even Whole Foods, if you go to your farmer, you guys, you can get good quality meat for a fraction of the price and buy
Yeah.
it in bulk. And it doesn't even necessarily, like personally, like I know a farmer, I know them personally, they're friends, and they don't even have the certain stamps, but they know what they do with their animals. So it's costing them less to make it, right? Not to have, certified organic, but they don't use hormones. They're out on the pasture. This is what's important, to know where your food comes from. It doesn't have to be, and yeah, it's a little more work, but health takes work, right? It's just the
It
reality.
does. It does. You have to be willing
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
Period.
Same with your eggs, go to your local co-ops, and if you buy them in the store, they're going to be a little bit more expensive, right? Convenience is a little bit more expensive, as we know, with the Instacarts and the delivery services and all the things like that. Healthy fats, industrial seed oils are extremely toxic and really do impact your body's detox capabilities. So when I say industrial seed oils, some examples of these are things like sunflower oil, canola oil, safflower oil, a lot of the nut oils, right? Grapeseed oil, things like that. You want to minimize those things. Yes, I get it. You can't be perfect with everything and they're hidden in everything, but it's important to choose healthier fats. So things like lard, duck fat, grass-fed butter, ghee, coconut oil, olive oil, avocado oil. These are all great and low inflammatory and healthy for the body. Your body craves these good fats. Your brain craves these good fats. So make sure that you're getting those in. And you can buy these fats, you guys, in bulk. You just got to search a little bit. And heck, you could even make your own lard, especially with, like, save your bacon grease. That's
Mhm.
what we'll do, you can get really creative with these things and find different areas that are more cost effective, because I get it. It's a lot of money lately with inflation, and we all have to do the best that we can. Organ meats are great. Beck, how much do we love our organs? Like, I supplement every day with them personally. They were a game changer for me and my health. And they're very nutrient and mineral rich. How do you like organs? Do you take yours every day? Oh, I can't hear you.
Sorry, my microphone went off for a second. Okay, so I take them in a supplement. I like
Yep.
Heart and Soils. I use their, what's the one? What's the main
Beef
one?
organs is great. And you do the
The
histamine and
beef.
immune. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just do the beef organs now. I take that and sometimes I'll eat it in that, I always forget their name and I say this every
Yes.
time, but it's a
Me
company
too.
that puts it into their like
Ground
bison or
beef.
their beef, and I'll do that. So that's how I do it. But I'm not one to go buy organ
Me
meats and
neither.
eat them. So you
I
can
supplement.
supplement. Yeah.
Yes. So dairy is another one too. If you're going to get in dairy, and everybody, depending on your healing journey, you guys, is different with where they're at, right? Beck and I talk so much about bio-individuality. Some people cannot handle dairy for periods of time. Usually, once we start working on the gut, working on hormones, they can start to bring it in. Me personally, that's how my health journey has been. So, good quality dairy, knowing your sources, right? That is the biggest thing. Raw dairy is great. It's another great source. So, either butter, some really good healthy raw cheese, even some good raw cream, things like that are
Yeah.
good. Starchy tubers are really good. Things like potatoes, sweet potatoes, squash, cassava flour. These are good complex carbs to really help feed that good bacteria, but also help feed your hormones, support detox, get more fiber in because you need fiber really to really support our bowel movements and detox. So the biggest thing is just to eat the rainbow, right? Eat nutrient dense foods, whole foods, shop outside the aisles in your grocery store, get to know your farmers. It's that important. If you're eating crap, it's the first step to health. It's the first step to support your detox pathways because if you don't, you're just hindering. You're going to feel it.
And sulfur-rich foods are really good too to help with detox through the liver. So like cruciferous veggies like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, garlic, onions, turmeric is really good. Bitter foods like arugula, radishes, artichokes are really good.
Yeah.
And then you want to make sure you're moving bile because bile is going to package up all the toxins and bring it from your liver to your bowel, to let it out to poop it out. So a good way to with food, you can take supplements too to help with bile, and I do that a lot with patients, but you can also eat foods like ginger. I already mentioned garlic and onions and artichoke, cumin, dandelion. You can do dandelion tea, curry, fennel. So those are all good things to help move bile.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of the bitters things, if you were to do a more supplementation with it, have a lot of these ingredients in it because it helps stimulate digestion, not just bile flow, but it helps stimulate stomach acid too,
Yeah.
so that we're absorbing those nutrients in the small intestine, which is really, really important when it comes to detox. Just the whole system fully, is great. So those are a lot of foods, guys, that you need to be focusing on to support detox. That's step number one. You want to get into clean water back?
So water is it's a bigger deal than I think a lot of people know. Most city water contains heavy metals, chlorine, pesticides or herbicides and
Mhm.
medications. And actually I think there's been studies that have shown birth control
Yes.
is in a lot of right, unfiltered water. So
Yeah.
and then there's filters and there, things like the Brita and stuff that are kind of maybe a starting point, but I think that they have not, they don't really do as much as they claim
Mhm.
is what I've heard. And I think they're in a lawsuit right now for that. I'm not exactly sure on all the details of that. So you just want to be careful with that kind of stuff. So I really kind of finally gave in and got a reverse osmosis system. I had someone just come and install it under my sink. I didn't do my whole house. I just did the drinking water. And it kind of eliminates everything. So some
Mhm.
people's argument with reverse osmosis is that, well, then you're getting no minerals,
Mhm.
but you're not really getting your minerals, I don't think, from your water the most. It's not like your main source, but you can add them. So we have like a little faucet that's our reverse osmosis, and then we have trace minerals, and we just every time we have a glass, we just put either a drop of that or we like that element. I
Yeah.
do an element packet at least once a day. Sometimes I do it like 3 times a day because it just makes your water taste so good.
Oh, a grapefruit is my jam right
Yeah,
now.
I like the watermelon. The
Mm.
grapefruit is good too though, but so yeah, so element or putting trace minerals in your water if you're doing reverse osmosis. Spring water is also best if you're going to do something like that. But remember, when you're doing bottled waters, it's hard because the plastic. So,
Yeah.
think about where the plastic bottled waters, they're traveling in the back of a truck and they're getting hot. So if I ever stop and get water, I try to get a glass,
Yeah.
um, or I just bring my own.
Because you don't know too, like think about how long they sit in the shelves in the store before they're even in your home or when you get them.
Yeah.
I get it. If it's all that you're able to get, like at a gas station traveling or something, they don't have glass, do the best you can. But it's important to think of that with what you're storing your water in. And Beck, you have well water, right?
I do.
So that's good, like for your, showering and things like that. We have city water here. So I also have a reverse osmosis, but I did end up getting a whole house because it is, your skin is your biggest organ.
Yeah.
And you guys, it was not that expensive. It wasn't for me with where we got ours. I'll have to find the exact name of it because in every state it's different. But it really, really helps. I noticed even with my dishes and with
Hmm.
laundry and all of these things. And you can also test your water. There's this device on Amazon. I'll link it in the show notes where you can see the difference. You actually check the level of toxicity and I've tested it. It's pretty cool the difference between like city water and then testing it with the reverse osmosis. So it just gives you that extra confidence that this isn't just something blind that, you're doing for your health, you're investing. Because water, it's true. We're drinking it every day and you're getting exposed to it and bathing it in it and showering in it. So you do want to be careful. But if you do have well, you're safe with
Well,
that
I
when it
have
comes.
to have mine treated. Like I
Yeah.
have a company that has to come treat my well water with
Hmm.
whatever. I don't even know what they're doing specifically, but they salt it for one, and then they do like
Oh
water
yeah,
softening and all that. I have a
for
water
sure.
softening system. So, but yeah, but we don't have that chlorine. So that's good
But
because that's the hardest part, I think, on your skin and stuff too.
oh,
Sure.
you can smell it. You can smell it. So can you imagine drinking it and
Yeah.
bathing in it? And you gotta just, think about those things, but do the best that you can. When you know better, you do better, right? And Beck mentioned the minerals, right? But think about this too. There's a lot of great salts too. Like we salt our food when we cook our
Hmm.
food. So there's a lot of minerals and Celtic sea salt, which is great. So personally, like that's a question that we get. Well, we don't, if you're doing reverse osmosis, there's no minerals. Well, you're cooking a lot with minerals and
Yeah.
you're
And you're
eating a
getting them from your food.
right. So don't stress about that. It's the benefits surely outweigh the small risk of that in our opinion. All right. So number three is air quality, which this is another one people don't take too serious, right? Because most of us spend so much time in our homes. In our homes, it can be some of the most toxic air. And
Yeah.
not your fault either, right? The materials that are used, the paint, the dust that accumulates. And if you do have mold, you can kind of sit in that, right? Even things like allergens and pollutants from outside can come into the home. So you just want to, there's a lot of great options you can do to filter. Me and Beck have air doctors throughout our house. Just
Yeah.
one, well, I have a two-story, actually a three-story, I have a basement. So I just have one little one in each,
Yeah.
story. And it's great because they're HEPA air filters and they're designed to remove these tiny particles such as viruses, pet dander, dust mites, mold, cigarette smoke, even. I mean, you got to think about all those things. So it's important to keep your air clean. I also like to open up, it's the dead of winter right now in Michigan, but I still, at least once a week, open up all my windows in the house to air the house out to get fresh air. Because I do, me and Beck both work from home. So
Yeah.
we spend a lot of time at home. So you want to make sure that you're airing your house out. And another thing that I just want to mention since we're talking about air is one simple thing you can do to keep the toxins out of the house is take your shoes off in the house if you can. Think about where you go with those shoes, like public
Right.
restrooms, and then think about all the chemicals like on the lawn and the grass and things like that. You bring those. So it's an easy thing you can do just to keep your shoes at the door. Have a pair of house shoes. If you like wearing a pair of shoes, stick a pair of clunkers on and walk around the house with them and just have them as your in the house shoes to keep it simple. So air is important, when it comes to supporting your detox pathways.
Yeah. And so let's talk next about number 4, which is support the liver. So there's a lot of different supplements you could take
Mhm.
to support the liver. So I'll just kind of give you the most common, if you're only willing to take one or two things. I would say N-acetylcysteine can be really great, milk thistle, glutathione. Those can all be really good. Again, glutathione, sometimes people don't tolerate it, so just be careful, when you try it. We love sulforaphane,
Mhm.
and that you can get in your veggies, but also, sometimes you just aren't getting enough. So
Yeah.
taking sulforaphane is really good, especially if you have estrogen metabolism issues. We always put patients on sulforaphane. So, and then methylated B vitamins can be really helpful. Again, that's another thing that can bother some people. So you want to be careful if you take methylated B vitamins and you're amped up and it's
Mhm.
uncomfortable, you need to not take those. You're not ready for that. So, and then just a quick like hack, if you are kind of jacked up on B12 or whatever, you can take niacin and it will bring you out of that. So, choline is really good to support the liver. Magnesium is good to support the liver, and alpha lipoic acid is really good. But again, if you're just taking some type of blend that has like milk thistle and acetylcysteine and glutathione, stuff like that, or even phospholipids, we like for that
Mhm.
too, you're doing well with that. And then we've talked about this 100 times, but we're going to say it again. Dry brushing, castor oil packs, Epsom salt baths, the infrared sauna, which is our number one favorite of all time way to support detox just in general. The liver is only one part of that. So those are all things that you definitely want to make sure you're incorporating some of it. You do not have to do all of that. You could do, milk thistle and castor oil packs. Like you don't have to do every single thing that we just named at all.
Yeah,
So these are just different
exactly.
avenues of how you can get there.
Yeah, and it's, you know, there's also things like teas, you guys, like dandelion tea, milk thistle tea. So if you're a big tea drinker or if you like something warm, that's also great to implement in, instead of taking a supplement. So there's a lot of different ways to support a lot of things to support the liver, but these are some of our heavy hitters that we love that we found make a huge difference because the liver is such a power source in the body. It filters, metabolizes, anything you put in or on your body, your liver processes it. So we need to do things to really support that organ and so that we're detoxing more efficiently, right? And really helping it because it works really hard for us. But again, the whole reason why they get overburdened is of all these different things. The reason why the liver gets overburdened is because of all these things that we're exposed to, right? So we got to support it so that we can really help the body. Number 5. So we talk about pooping a lot, but again, these are gentle, simple things you can do today, like starting now. We just can't stress it enough because if you do really concentrate on these things, you will start to feel better. So having at least 1 to 3 bowel movements per day is important for eliminating toxins in the body. If you're not pooping, I would definitely focus on trying to figure out the why behind that. So if we see that someone isn't going to the bathroom, yes, we try to get them at least moving, and there's various things you can take to do that, but you also kind of do want to figure out why. Is it coming from slower motility? Are you dealing with any infections in the gut? That's impacting it, right? What does your good bacteria look like? There's so many things that can impact our bowel movements. So some things to get you going a little bit, because I know how it is. When you're not pooping, you want to punch somebody. You do. You don't feel good. You are bloated. You're probably gassy. I get that. We all have been there at least one point in our lives. And so you want to get things moving. We really like like magnesium glycinate. It's really gentle on the gut. We find most people can handle that pretty good. Um, Magnesium citrate is also good, but it's a powerhouse. You need to be careful and go very, very slow with it.
And you can
I
get a
like to,
watery stool too.
yes,
So you
you
have
got
to
to
be
go
careful.
slow. Yes. So we like to titrate. I like to start with at least 200 milligrams, go up to 400 if you don't feel a difference with that. We like to just keep titrating if you're not noticing a difference, but go up to 800 milligrams is about, if not, try something different.
Yeah. And also, so what I always say to people is take, let's say you're starting at 2 or 400 milligrams.
Yeah.
If the next day, so take it like maybe before bed. It depends
Mhm.
on the dose. If you're taking like
Yeah.
200, just take it before bed. And then if the next day you wake up and you don't poop, or your poop is the same, it's hard to get out or whatever, then the next day you're going to go up. And
Hmm.
then you're going to keep increasing until you get that poop you want. But if it gets too watery, you
Titrate.
want to go back. So
Hmm.
that's why you really want to work with a magnesium that you can titrate. Sometimes starting with a powder can be
Hmm.
helpful because you can really do like little bits.
Hmm.
But most people are fine with capsules. They just kind of add a capsule and take away a capsule. So we always say dose to bowel tolerance, and that's what that means.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different types of bowel supports out there. I mean, we've worked a lot with many different ones. Magnesium is a pretty safe thing everybody can kind of trial with. There's some other heavy hitters like Bowel Mover from Cellcore that's really good. But again, that's something you may want to, either work with someone with or go very slow with. It's not as gentle as something as like a
But it
magnesium.
works.
It does.
It works.
The reason why it's named bowel mover is it will get those bowels moving, right?
It doesn't. And I want to tell you guys something, because if you take this, I want you to know this story. Um, the first time I don't have an issue with pooping, but I have at points, right?
Yeah.
Like a day or something. But anyway, so I wanted to try this bowel mover. So I took it before bed, and I woke up in the middle of the night. I've had 3 kids, so I know what labor feels like. It was similar, okay? It
I
was like a
remember this
light
story.
version of labor, and I was thinking to myself, this is why they call it bowel mover. I can literally feel it moving, like whatever's been
Wow.
stuck in there. It was literally moving and making me kinda cramp, but
Hmm.
boy, did it come out. I mean,
Yeah.
so anyway, if that happens to you, don't be alarmed, but it's not something that you should have to take this all the time. And if
No.
you do have to take it all the time, there's a reason behind that, which you want to get to the root of that.
Yeah. And then, of course, things like fiber. Now, I'm not saying you guys go out and take a bunch of fiber and supplements. That can almost actually make you worse. But if you're starting to eliminate inflammatory foods and you're getting in a lot of good wholesome fiber in your diet, you're already doing good things. Okay. So, but I have had patients do really well with getting in like some insoluble fiber,
Yeah, and
you know.
like flaxseed is really good.
Hmm.
You can add like a teaspoon of flaxseed to a smoothie or something or whatever,
Yeah,
put it on anything. And
it's
that can
great.
be really helpful. Yeah, or even
Yeah.
flaxseed oil can help.
Yeah, when you're dealing with the bowels, I always like low and slow. You really have to be careful, especially with constipation. It's a little more simple too. If you're dealing with more like diarrhea, the fiber can really bulk your stool up, which is
Yeah.
great, so most patients tend to handle that a little bit better. But again, just always go slow with these things.
Yeah, because fiber can definitely make you more
Oh,
constipated.
yeah.
Yeah. I never add fiber as a
Mm-mm.
even first or second line of defense against constipation. So,
Yeah, and your diet has a lot of fiber in it though too, so you're already getting a lot. But
mhm.
you hear so many things out there of get in this much like extra fiber. So I'll have patients come and they'll be like, "Why am I constipated?" I'm like, "Okay, what are you taking?" And they're taking all of this extra fiber in supplement form. And I'm like,
Right.
"Okay, let's hold that back a little bit."
Yeah,
So,
do it with food. Yeah.
yeah, just definitely just low and slow. And then of course we talk about castor oil packs a lot. They're very, very stimulating and can not in a bad way, but can really help get the bowels moving too. And Queen of the Thrones, we absolutely love her packs, but she has a lot of videos on how to apply the packs even to the bowels, but even applying them to over the liver can really help stimulate that bile flow and get things moving. So both areas are great. And she has tons of resources on how to put them on, the benefits of them. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, we'll link to that. But I remember trying her pack and it was like in the middle of the day. And I had to like run to the bathroom with probably within a half an hour. And I was like, anyone who says these things don't work, do put it on. And it doesn't mean that that's going to happen to you. I'm just saying,
No, it was
I was
probably
like, if I had any doubt, I do not. They really do work. So,
it's so great. I can talk about those things forever. I know
mhm.
they're great. And then number six, I mean, we cannot stress this enough is sweating. You gotta sweat. And we love Sunlighten's infrared impulse sauna, which is
Mhm.
fantastic. We like, I mean, they have great saunas, but the impulse is really, really good.
Our favorite. That's the one I have. That's what I use. I love it.
Yeah, we need to make sure that we are constantly, well, not constantly sweating, but eliminating, sweating every day at least and eliminating these toxins that we're exposed to. Because again, going back to those pathways that we talked about, sweating, the lymphatic system, all of these things are really, really important to support detox naturally. And it's an easy thing you can do, and it's not something that you have to take, and it's very gentle, and you can titrate your time. You can titrate the heat, which is really, really important too for sensitive folks. So it's one of my favorite things to do. And it's very therapeutic, you guys. It's something that you can just enjoy every day. It's you time. You can listen to a podcast. You can meditate in there. There's
You
so
can
many.
sing in there because listen,
Tell them your story. That's good.
the other day, so I usually listen to either a book or a podcast in there because it really like you're really absorbing information, because everything's like all circulating and everything.
Yeah.
But I also love to sing, and I know you're not thinking that when you hear me talk, and it doesn't sound good, but it's
I love you.
therapeutic. So singing actually stimulates your vagus nerve.
Yes.
So the point is you can multitask in there with things that are healthy. You can get your meditation in or your breath work and also your sweating. But anyway, so I put on Taylor Swift and I had a concert in there. I mean, I was really getting it. And it kind of made me like really awake, but it was also working the vagus nerve. So I was like relaxed and awake. Then I sweat and then I went and did like a cold shower. So I was on fire that day. And I'll tell you, since then, I just listen to music in there and just sing on the top of my lungs.
Well, it's good.
And it's
Just shut
pretty
it off
amazing.
and release. It's kind of like somatic therapy,
It is. It is a
Yes.
release. It definitely is. Especially if you want to like put on a song that you're like getting something out.
Oh, I love you. Did your boys hear you?
I was surprised that they did. They heard the music and I was like, gosh, I hope my neighbors don't hear me because I'm really not holding back. But
Well, another benefit is it's soundproof, y'all, which is great.
yeah, it was like I felt like I was in a recording studio.
We really do. We really do need to get out more, don't we?
I know. It's getting sad, but
I love it though. We're in it together.
that's right.
Oh my gosh. So if you this some of this overwhelms you guys or you want more of like a laid out version of this, we have a free detox guide on our website, healthbabes.com. You can go on the website and get that. And then we also have our core program where we walk you through all of these steps, right? And we go into detail about how the detox pathways work, different ways in which you can support it. I mean, it is a very detailed approach to detox. So if you're overwhelmed and want to get started on something, you can go there to healthbabes.com/courses and find the core program there.
Well, thank you guys for listening. Detox is probably like, anything we talk about on this show, it's like detox is at the core of where you need to
Mhm.
start. And that word detox can be a little scary because it can be aggressive if you do it the wrong way. And we want you to start gently. So this is why, we've gotten so many questions because we reference detox so much, or we reference gentle detox so much. People wanted us to break this down like this.
Mhm.
So this is a great episode that if you heard us in another episode say you need to start with gentle detox, and then you need to, this is what you want to start with. And then you're going to get into some of those other things that we've talked about in other episodes.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for listening. This is something you can start today. It's very simple. And we hope you have a beautiful holiday season with your families, and we'll talk soon. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, if you can pop over and leave a review, that would be awesome. You can also find us over at healthbabes.com, where you can find our courses, our latest book. We also are on Instagram at the healthbabes, at Dr. Becky Campbell, or at Dr. Crystal Hone. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.